the first thing is, obviously you got Aaron Fink in the band, and he is. I don't mind the new Breaker Benjamin stuff, but the original lineups where my heart is. So when I read that he joins Earshot, I thought it was a really cool fit. And I can hear. I'm not sure how much involvement he had with the writing on this, but I can hear a lot of his style on it. So how much involvement did the other guys have? So did you mainly write all the songs and they sort of shape it, or did you also muck in?
This record was pretty equally drawn up by all of us, with the exception of our drummer. Mikey, he doesn't really write a whole lot. I mean, obviously he comes up with his drum parts, the way he plays them, and we also have input, but by and large, it was Aaron, myself had obviously the largest hand in it, and John, our bass player, has, I think, a couple or a few songs that he started off as well that are some of my favorite songs. I mean, so yeah, I mean, all of this, you're gonna hear the fingerprints of myself and Aaron all over it, and it's just, I met Aaron back in 2004, and when we were doing we had a string of sorry, one second.
Yep.
We had a string of dates with Breaking Benjamin back in 2004, and me and Aaron became fast friends. We were, every day first thing in the afternoon, whenever we got up and were awake and had our coffee and whatever, we'd, be hanging out, and we'd just hang out all day long until one of our bands had to play. And then when we were done, we'd come right back and keep hanging out, and we'd hang out till, the buses left at 2 or 3 in the morning, and we would just be listening. We'd pass the iPod back and forth, playing, check this song, you heard this, check this out, this, and then lamenting on things. And like, we would get excited listening and sharing these songs. Like, yeah, I know that, or, oh, I've never heard that, but that's awesome. And just talking music and talking, some of the artists that were influential to us. And I remember one of the moments Aaron saying to me, he said, what I really love about your band that's different than mine is that all you do is sing. You're a traditional frontman. You're not playing guitar. You're not doing any of that. Like I miss that in a way, and I admire that. And cut to all these years later, we started talking again in 2018, and not that we ever stopped talking. We just got busy, and once in a while, one of us would send a text every once just to say, "Hey," or "Merry Christmas," or whatever. But he had reached out to me in 2018, I think it was, or early 2019. He was working on a solo record of his, and he'd sent me a text to ask if I would be interested in maybe singing on one of the songs. And of course I said, sure, send it over. I'll take a listen to it. And at that time, we had a couple of offers that had come out of nowhere to do a couple of shows, and I didn't have a band together or anything. And I had kind of been I'd talked to Mikey, who's our current drummer. He expressed interest in, maybe doing that if I decided to do that. And then a friend of mine, Andy, who was the guitar player for a couple of years when we reactivated also. And then Aaron sent that text, and I went, if it's ever going to happen, this would be a great time to do it, because this is literally like starting a brand new band again, albeit, there's a little name recognition and brand recognition there to start from, but it's like starting over again. And this would be a great opportunity for us to start to work together and not feel like it's not my home, it's more your home. Like, this is a complete reset of this band. And so when I called him and asked him about, how he felt about doing these couple of shows, he didn't hesitate. He's like, I'm in. And we planned to make this record in 2020, and then obviously COVID hit. So that put the kibosh on that. And we ended up just remotely recording some singles and putting them out. We did Uninvited, which I feel like came out really, really great.
Yeah, good song.
And we put out Been a Long Time, which was, more of a rock track, and we were starting to inch closer, back to our roots. And then Unraveling, we did Unraveling, which kind of, to me, reminded me of something that would have came off of Letting Go. It was it's a good song, heavy, nice chorus, kind of chaotic sounding, had that chaotic vibe. So definitely something that would have come off our first album. And then finally we were able to all get together and start recording this album.